We're now in week 13 of the NHL season, and it's a brand new year that has started with a bang. A 39-year-old who fractured his leg 50 days ago continues to shock everyone with his chase for greatness.
He does it again!
You got toilet bowl teams rising from the dead. Rumors of a big change are running wild. We got hockey in a baseball stadium, and teams are forgetting to pay their electric bill.
Jamie Oleksiak, the lights have gone out.
There was a lot we didn't see coming in week 13. So as the roller coaster of the NHL season continues, let's take a look at what really happened in this week of hockey. Sunday, history for Sid. It is the last Sunday of 2024, and it's only fitting that it ends the way it all starts for the Bedards, getting completely crushed. There was only one goal that they could muster on the power play, and of course, it was Connor Bedard. Hence their name for the majority of the year, and even though the Stars are on fraud watch, they put up a 5-piece on Chicago with Duchesne and Ben having 3-point nights. That is a layup Dallas desperately needs as they're on potential fraud watch. Another layup would be Washington over Detroit. The Red Wings are a tire fire with a new head coach, and the Caps are wagons. They also have the greatest goal scorer of our generation coming back and doing this.
Back in for Connor McMichael, made the play across and they score!
That is the goal that puts him 25 goals back of beating Gretzky's record. However, the Red Wings actually look good in this game. Shocker, I know, but Patty Kane scores to become the second US-born player to reach 1,300 points. The Red Wings win 4-2, and it's Tom McClellan's first dub as the Red Wings coach. Now how about this? It's tied 3-3 with 2 minutes left between the Oilers and Ducks, and Ryan Strome is going to go for the peanut butter and jam play right into Pickard's pads. Ref gets in there, blows the whistle, says no goal, and we go to commercial break. That's the perfect time for Gary to make a quick call, say take another look, and we return from that commercial break where the review says that this one is actually a good goal. Turns out that goal would be the game winner as the Ducks get past the Oilers. Over in St. Louis, the Blues are hosting the reborn Buffalo Sabres. Management thinks that 13-game losing streak was just a fluke, and the solution is in the room. So even though St. Louis outshoots Buffalo 37-16, UPL turns into UPS and delivers a brick wall of a performance by stopping 35 in a 4-2 Sabres win. That 2025 Sharks versus Sabres final is going to be electric. We can thank Lou's Islanders for this Sabres resurgence, and we can thank them for allowing Sid to make history. With the NHL taking away his assist after last game, Crosby comes into this one, assists on Bunting's power play goal, to become the franchise leader in assists and passing Super Mario. Sid now stands alone, and he gets a standing ovation from the city of Pittsburgh. The Penguins have now won 10 of 15 after losing 8 of their first 10. Also, who would have thought that Jake Evans would be one of the hottest goal scorers in the league at the end of the year? He pots one against Tampa Bay to extend his streak to 5 games for the longest active run in the league as the Habs win their second in a row. Now, keeping it in the Atlantic, the Sens still don't have their 2 starting goalies available, so it's Levi Merilainen getting the green light, and he doesn't disappoint. 30 saves on 31 shots against the Wild gives Ottawa their 7th win in 9 games. That's a pace that Vegas seems to be playing at all season. A 5-game winning streak coming into their tilt with Calgary. It's Leaf legend Ilya Samsonov to keep the ball rolling. Steady stays Vegas as they win their 6th in a row, and Samsonov is perfect. Finally in LA, Buddy the Elf is in town, and you'd think he'd be a Sabres fan as he looks like he's been ripping darts for his day job. But thankfully for Buddy the Elf, the Kings called 1-800-BIG-SAVE-DAVE. It's not his best outing as Michkov is literally scoring from behind the net, but he gets the job done. And Captain Kopitar says, hop on, fellas, as he scores 2 straight in the third, and the Kings take it 5-4 to end Sunday night. Monday, the downfall continues. We got a rematch of the Eastern Conference Final. A lot has changed since these last 2 teams been in the playoffs. The defending Cup champs are still solid, but the Rangers have turned into an absolute joke. This game went down exactly how you'd expect. The Panthers jumped all over the Rangers early for a 2-0 lead, and then with whatever shred of dignity and pride the Rangers had left in them, they were able to fight back and tie the game at 3s. Yet the Rangers are still broken. Jesper Boquist gets the game winner for Florida, and that's not even the worst news for the Rangers. Shesterkin landed on the IR after the game, and it was probably because his defenseman and Ryan Lindgren absolutely dummied Sam Bennett into his own goalie. Now, Igor is on the IR with an upper body injury, and it seems like it can only get worse for the Rangers in the new year. The other disappointment in Nashville followed suit. The worst offense in the league going up against the best goaltender in the league, and Connor Hellebuck is a recipe for a 3-0 shutout for the Jets. Then we move on to the Expansion Bowl. or Relocation Bowl, whatever way you look at it. But Seattle is still buzzing after that late 4-1 comeback against the Canucks, and they score 3 straight again in the third to beat Utah 5-2. Clearly, Utah is still struggling to shake the ghosts of Arizona, as that is their 4th loss in a row. Tuesday, New Year's Eve. It's the final day of 2024. Teams are looking to end it off on a high note, and it starts early with Boston and Washington. And the one guy who's been a sneaky great pickup for the Caps is Jacob Chychrun. Sens fans, plug your ears because he scores his 11th of the season and ties Cale Makar and Zach Werenski for most goals by a defenseman. He's got 25 points in 32 games, and that is a lovely start for a contract year. This man wants to get paid. The Caps find a way to win without Ovi scoring a goal. Next up, it's the Leafs versus Blues Islanders, and Patrick Waugh is going to have to hold another open practice to apologize to Isles fans. First, you let Stevie Lorentz walk you like a dog and then rip one like he's prime Steve Yzerman, and then you leave yourself no choice but to pull the tendy with 40 seconds left on a D-zone draw. Of course, the Leafs scored, and the extra salt in the wound is it's the man who left the island and John Tavares doing the honor, and Patrick Waugh's face says it all. Happy New Year, Patty. Going to his old team in the Montreal Canadiens, it's been a terrible year for the Habs, but they are ending it on a strong note. Vegas has been rolling over teams lately, and it looked like they're going to do the same thing by getting 2 in the first. But the Habs got a little FU in them lately. They come back and get 3 in a row with Kirby Dach's game winner, and beating the Panthers, Lightning, and Golden Knights is not a bad way to end 2024 at all. Then we had the 16th annual NHL Winter Classic. And if you didn't know it was happening, it was because the league did everything in their power to make it as uninteresting as possible. First, you probably thought that this game was on during New Year's Day, and you'd be right in thinking that because it's always been on New Year's Day. This year, though, it's on New Year's Eve. Second, it's about the 800th time the Chicago Blackhawks have been in an outdoor game. Combine that with them being dead last in the NHL and playing the St. Louis Blues team, who's also not very good, the buzz wasn't exactly what it should be. But either way, the Winter Classic is a spectacle. The Blues look like they could have used an escalator to get to the rink, and Connor Bedard looks like he borrowed Doc's shades from Back to the Future. It was also Blues defenseman Cam Fowler's 1,000th game, and he kicked it off in the best possible way.
It's an unbelievable sight here at Wrigley.
We're doing okay so far, Bruce. Score!
That might be one of the coolest ways to play your 1,000th career game, and he tops it off by getting another one in the spanking that was the Blues over the Blackhawks. Afterwards, the Blackhawks were clearly embarrassed with their effort, with Connor Bedard even saying that they got dog-walked. He's not wrong. For good measure to drown out any relevance of this game anyways, the NHL still had 9 more games after this to make sure it really stood out. 6 schedule. Now, since you're probably like everyone else and tuning in to Canada versus USA's World Junior game, I'm going to kick it into rapid fire. First, you got Red Wings Penguins. Happy New Year's, Detroit fans. You're 2-1 under Todd McClellan. Sharks fans, I hope you poured one out for Macklin Celebrini and your team before the countdown because they got shut out by the Flyers. The Jets meet their kryptonite in Colorado and lose. Their 2024 playoff run was ruined by them, and so was the end of their year. Hurricanes and Jackets. Sorry, no Dustin Tokarski in the cage for Carolina, so that is a scheduled loss for Canes fans. Gotta play the Team Canada legend during World Junior time. Lesson learned. The Stars beat the Sabres, and Brett Hull's foot was in the crease. Actually, I'm sorry, Sabres fans. That was the 99 script, but you still lost to the Stars going into 2025, so not much has changed. The Ducks also learn how to fly together to beat the Devils, while Lucas Dostal continues to beat John Gibson 2.0, with John Gibson somehow still being a Duck. The Preds end 2024 with another loss on the road to the Wild, bringing their record to 3-13-4. GM Barry Trotz drunk dialed me at midnight asking about U2 packages to the Sphere, but I told him he had the wrong number. Utah ended 2024 with no real name and a loss to the Oilers, and finally in the all-Canadian matchup between the Canucks and Flames, Nazem the Dream gets the game winner. Huberdeau reminds us he's still in the league with the empty netter, and with another win for Dustin Wolf, the Wolfpack gets stronger to end Tuesday and 2024. Wednesday. The Bettman Special. Happy New Year to everyone. Take the day off, recover from the night before, kick back, relax, and watch a grand total of 1 NHL game. That's of course if by some miracle it's not regionally restricted for you, but the Gary Bettman Special to kick off 2025 is solely between the Devils and the Kings. LA has been heating up as of late, and their dominant play continued into tonight as they are completely able to shut down the number 4 ranked offense in the league. Andre Lee scores his first NHL goal, and it's the first goal of 2025. And the Kings didn't need to call 1-800-BIG SAVE Dave because Darcy Kemper was lights out. He pitches a shutout, and the LA Kings win their 11th game in the past 15 to end the Bettman Special and kick off 2025. Thursday. Comeback Avs. Back to a regular scheduled programming with an Igor Shesterkin-less Rangers going up against Boston. That leaves the door wide open for Jonathan Quick to show he's still got that dog in him, and he puts the old groin to work by stretching it out and making a 10-bell save that even inspired Moneyman Swayman to come and give him respect. He stops 32 of 33 to temporarily stop the bleeding in New York. It's time to also break out the nightly OV goal tracker because he can't stop scoring. This one is a long-range wrister from downtown to beat Fleury to put him 24 back of beating the Great One's record. And after years of battles between Ovi and Fleury, the two Hall of Famers go up against one another to decide the game in the shootout.
Snaking his way to the net, fires, glove save, Fleury.
Fleury goes old school and kicks out the leg and left glove like he's in the 90s and says, "Beat it, kid." The Wild win, and Fleury gets the last laugh. Let's head down to Florida where Kotkaniemi hits the slip and slide right into Officer Bob thanks to Matthew Tkachuk. After getting slide tackled, the Hurricanes score and then all hell breaks loose. Now, anytime I see contact with the goalie nowadays, I almost immediately think that it's getting called back no matter what. Mostly because the NHL is soft with goalie interference, and so much as a sneeze will disallow a goal. But this one ends up counting thanks to Tkachuk keeping Kotkaniemi prisoner in the crease. To boot, that is the game winner for the Hurricanes. Meanwhile, 2025 may finally be the year that Sens playoff hockey makes a return. I know, I sound like your average Sens fan, but they are finally showing some promise. So they put on a performance against Dallas where they only put up 13 shots. Sens, you better not screw this up and return back to the Bermuda Triangle of Mid. I don't know who's making the schedule, but for the second time in a row, the Leafs and Islanders Rochambeau, and it had that warm, fuzzy, and boring feeling of Islanders hockey that puts you to sleep halfway through the second period. All of a sudden, you wake up and Bobby Vince McMahon is double dipping and Giuseppe Wonderwall is stopping 32 of 33 in a 2-1 Leafs win. Hopefully you didn't sleep through the Red Wings game. That's the first time I'm saying that all year because the Todd McClellan magic is starting to kick in. 4-4 tie in the dying seconds of the game. Berggren steps out of the box for Detroit and makes something happen.
Driving effort, Berggren's out of the box. He breaks on in and he scores.
The Yzer plan is back, baby. That is 3 wins in a row, and the vibes are high once again in Detroit. The same goes for the Ducks, who tied the game late thanks to Captain Ratko Gudas and his clap bomb in the last 2 minutes to force OT. Troy Terry says, "Let's get the hell out of Winnipeg," buries the shootout winner, and gives the Ducks their 3rd straight win. We've got another overtime game in Colorado, but this one took a wild road to get here. First, a controversial non-call on the Sabres' Zach Benson. He gets shoved into Blackwood, who's very obviously injured, but the ref refuses to blow the whistle. Benson then grabs the puck and scores. Usually when a player is clearly hurt, it's whistled down right away. That just didn't happen here. And to boot, Zach Benson throws out a fist pump like he's never scored a goal in his life. That pisses off Colorado and awakes a beast. At points during this game, Buffalo led 3-0, 4-2, and 5-3 with just 3 minutes left to play in regulation. But these are still, unfortunately, the Buffalo Sabres. Druin scores to tie the game with 7 seconds left, and then Devon Taves has the chance to be the hero in OT.
Stick to win it. Down the slot. He shoots and scores.
Taves buries the reborn Buffalo Sabres and completes the chaotic comeback to have them in shambles. The shambling also has spread to Vancouver, who's out of a playoff spot at the start of this game and seems to have a problem keeping any sort of lead against the Seattle Kraken. Seattle bingos twice to go to a shootout, but JT Miller gives the double bird and sends Vancouver home with 2 important points. Now, one of the biggest surprises for me in the West so far is Calgary, right in the playoff mix despite zero expectations of them being very competitive, but they run into a Utah team trying to shake the ghosts of Arizona. They triple down with 3 goals in the third and finally snap their 5-game losing streak. Vegas, well, they remain Vegas. They cruise to another victory against the Flyers for their 11th win in their last 13, and it's only looking like the true juggernaut that can stop them is the San Jose Sharks. Tyler Toffoli with the Toremi Faso. How dare he with that toe drag around Anthony Cirelli, and then the finish. Sick man, sick goal. However, it's the Tendy Yaroslav Askarov stopping 24 of 25 to keep the Sharks undefeated in 2025. The prophecy of a 2025 Cup run is already falling in place to end Thursday. Friday, Blackhawk hockey. Nothing better on a Friday night than our toilet bowl game feature between the Blackhawks and Habs. Let's get rolling right away with this one with Arbor Jackeye and Patty Maroon dropping the mitts. Jackeye gives him so many lefts that Maroon's begging for a right, and we got some heat out of the gate in this one. Cole Caulfield gets goal number 20 on the season thanks to a defense inspired by something you see in Timbits hockey. But the Hawks are fed up with being embarrassed. Slick Nick Foligno gets 2, and the Hawks snap their 5-game losing streak to start the new year. Afterwards, Captain Foligno said that you can expect them to play Blackhawks hockey. I guess that is their formal rebrand in the new year from being the Chicago Bedards, but fully expect them to lose the next game 5-2 in the spirit of following that Blackhawk hockey. Next up, it's the Sens. What do we have in store tonight? And it's a Brandon Saad legacy game. He scores twice through the 5-hole on Forsberg, close your damn legs, son, and then he goes glove on him to put his mind in a pretzel at the end as the Blues shut out Ottawa 4-0. Not saying anything, but that's now 4 losses in their last 5 for the Sens. Now here's the tip of the day. Don't leave Sid the middle-aged man wide open on the power play. Signature knee drop and everything, and the Penguins show some balls in this one, tying it up late against the defending Cup champs to force OT. Too bad Spencer Knight calls it a night and shuts out both Penguin shooters to secure a Florida dub in the shootout. On to Edmonton, where Leon Draisaitl is a goal-scoring machine. Leading the entire NHL in goals, this guy turns on the clutch gene, and in the final minutes, he buries to give Edmonton the late lead. He's already at 28 goals on the year. Finally, the Canucks welcome back the Preds and get Saros. He gets his 4th shutout of the season while Stamkos taps in with his vintage clapper, and the Canucks streak of being incredibly mid continues. Yes, they're missing Hughes, Demko, and Hronek, but if they don't stay afloat, they may be in a dog race come playoff time. Saturday, hockey night. It's the first Saturday of the year, and Ovi gets the Rangers, a team that he's lit on fire for years, who's in an all-time free fall, has him licking his lips. But this kicks off with a pizza so good that only Nunna can replicate it. Logan Thompson fires one hot and ready up the middle for Chris Kreider to get the easiest goal of his life. Fast forward to the 3rd period with a Caps lead, and Ovi, off the face-off, jumps through the hole, goes to his backhand, and buries while falling down. The Ovi goal tracker now has him 23 away from the record, and the fact that he's doing this after fracturing his leg mid-season at 39 is absurdity. The guy's an animal, and even though defense was thrown in the trash in this game, the Caps win 7-4. Despite the Rangers showing some life by beating Boston on Thursday, they returned back to being a slop fest on Saturday. Next up is the Sharks versus Devils, where Macklin Celebrini reminds Jacob Markstrom to close his damn legs when going up against him. That is his 13th of the season to lead all rookies. Now with this game tied at 2 and the clock draining down, it's Cody Ceci. Now you see him, now you don't. His howitzer is too hot to handle for Markstrom, and that is the game winner. Ceci, that sniper, is now only 800 goals back of Ovi, and the Sharks stay undefeated in 2025. The Leafs are also looking to do the same against their kryptonite in Boston. And my God, Leafs Nation, look who's back. Austin Matthews, and that top line of him, Marner, and Nyes were buzzing all night with a combined 13 points. Nyes has a monster game, getting his first career hat trick, and any win against Boston for the Leafs means that the parade is fully on. Shifting over to Winnipeg, it's the McClellan Red Wings, who look like a brand new team. The big boys of Larkin, DeBrincat, Kane, and Raymond all had themselves a game, and they beat the #1 team in the league to win their 4th in a row. All of a sudden, they're 2 points out of a playoff spot, and the Habs are 1? What a bird I was for saying that they were in the toilet bowl on Friday, but Cole Caulfield ties it late against Colorado and then wins it in a shootout. A developing story coming out of Montreal is Jakub Dobish. This kid looks unreal to start his career, as he's the first goalie in Habs history to allow just 1 goal through his first 2 career NHL starts. They're now 7-3 in their last 10 and are right in the mix. The same goes for the Blue Jackets that are also in that logjam for the last spot in the East, and a big reason why is Zach Werenski, who continues to be a low-key stud. Another 2 apples for him, and he's got a 15-game home point streak. That's the longest of any D-man in the last 30 years, while putting 30 points in that span. How about that? Another man picking apples from the apple tree on this fine evening is Marco Rossi. 4 assists on the night to contribute to every wild goal put up against Carolina. If you're wondering, there's no Tokarski in net, plus Philip Gustafsson is a brick wall, putting up his 3rd shutout on the season. We're also going to quickly remove the Stars from being potential frauds as they're rounding into form beautifully. The Italian maestro, who's actually not Italian at all, Mattias Michelli, puts up 2 for the no-name brand, but the Stars had an answer for every goal and a Jake Ottinger. Thomas Harley cleans up the garbage for the OT winner, and the Stars are now winners of 4 in a row and are 7-2-1 in their last 10. The LA Kings are just as hot, and the Silent Killers are all business in a 2-1 win over Tampa. They're still chasing Vegas for the top spot in the Pacific Division, and I think it's going to stay that way for the rest of the year because Vegas is just on another level right now. 9-1 in their last 10, and Eichel is having none of this chatter about the Sabres being reborn as he scores against his old flame. Speaking of the Flames, they run into the Preds and the Conn Smythe version of Ryan O'Reilly. He gets the hat trick, and we get treated to a surprise tilt between Jonathan Marchessault and Matthew Coronado. A couple of light heavyweights throwing it down for the spirit of the game, all while Justus Noonan gives the Preds another stellar goalie performance for them to remain undefeated in 2025. Weird year already, and it gets even weirder when the lights go completely out in the first minute of the Oilers and Kraken game. Gary's shutting down the electricity after a couple balanced checks, but the Oilers' depth is what really shined in this one. Connor McDavid hasn't recorded a point yet in 2025, but that same depth that elevated them to a contender last year comes up big again tonight as they beat Seattle 4-2 to end the week on a 3-game win streak. So, what did you think of Week 13? Who surprised you? Who pissed you off? Let us know in the comments down below. And for more breakdowns and recaps just like this, make sure you subscribe to the channel.